5 years ago, I woke up on the cold floor of a jail cell at the correctional facility in Burien, Washington. I knew in that moment that I couldn't live with drugs and alcohol anymore, but I also didn't know how to live without them. 5 years ago, I didn't know what intimacy was with myself, with other people, and much less how to apply that in all areas of my life, including the workplace. I was born in Romania during communism, and when the revolution happened, we immigrated to Germany, Portugal, and the US. I grew up living in immigrant asylums, moving 17 times before the age of 11. And throughout my youth, I experienced a lot of trauma, which included bullying, neglect, and even losing a significant other in college to overdose. What I did is I stuffed all of those experiences and I packed them so deep that they actually grew bigger and bigger. And as they say, what you resist persists. So in that moment, in that jail cell, I had a choice. I had a turning point. I could get vulnerable and ask for help, or I would face my imminent death. So I chose to get help. I entered a 28-day rehab program, and in that program, I learned 3 tools that helped me in my recovery and eventually to the success of my current company, We Connect Health. At We Connect Health, we developed a technology that keeps people in recovery accountable to their care plan. They get rewards that help them with food, transportation, and personal care items, and we work with health systems and Medicaid plans today. We've also raised over $11 million. None of this success would have been possible without the 3 tools that I learned in recovery. Those 3 tools include mindfulness, so meditation, which I'm sure you're all familiar with, and yoga. The second tool has been my 12-step program. For those of you not familiar with 12 steps, it's community support meetings for those suffering from substance use disorder, and a writing process with another peer where you write down every single painful experience you've had, resentments, or situation that's caused you great grief. Then you process that with the individual, and you go out and make amends, and then give that gift back to someone else that's going through the same experience. The third tool that I learned has been EMDR therapy. This is called eye processing, desensitization, and reprocessing. And all you really need to know about that is that it helps you process any kind of trauma that you've had, talk about it, really feel it, and let it get unpacked and come to the surface. And it uses somatic experience and talk therapy in combination to bring those things from your subconscious to the surface. It has been an incredible experience for me. One story that I'll share is that I used to get huge anxiety attacks going through the Canadian border because of my past childhood experiences. And I'm happy to share today that I don't get that anxiety. It's all been as a result of EMDR therapy. What these 3 tools in recovery have led me to do is really find intimacy with myself, with other people, and how to apply it in all areas of life. It has been completely transformative. Now you might ask, what is intimacy? There are 4 kinds, as noted by Psychology Today. The first is physical, sex, cuddling, physical touch. That's not what we're going to talk about today. In fact, that's not encouraged in the workplace. The other 3, however, we're going to talk about today. The first is emotional, saying things like, "You are important to me. I appreciate you. I'm so glad that you're a part of my life." The second is intellectual, having that kinship that other person is your intellectual equal and connecting on a variety of topics that are meaningful for those folks. And the third is shared activities, like sharing a meal together. So what I'm going to share with you today is how I applied the 3 recovery tools that I learned to the 3 types of intimacy and how to create a culture of success and high productivity in the workplace. When it comes to the emotional intimacy, I apply the 12-step process. As a leader, I admit when I'm wrong promptly. I make sure that I look at my part in a situation. Oftentimes, if someone is underperforming at work, the majority of that is because a leader didn't give enough context. A very small part is because of the employee's actual capability, and even that can get solved by mentorship, by being alongside them and being a true teammate and supporter. This is really helpful. So instead of sort of reprimanding the individual for not meeting a deadline, I always ask if they need more context, more resources, more support, and really asking behind the why of what's going on in their life to ensure that they can move forward and be successful in that task. The second is intellectual. So knowing from EMDR therapy that people's behavior at work is subconsciously driven by fear, anxiety, and traumas they've had in the past. I make sure that I create a safe space for them. I address their concerns, and I make sure that they feel really comfortable in that work setting so that they're able to move forward past those anxieties and fears. And I often ask, what is your concern about this task? What is blocking you today? How can I help you get you the resources you need? This has been really impactful in our workplace. The third is shared activities, and this is probably my favorite at We Connect. Before we start a meeting, any meeting, we quiet down and experience 1 minute of silence. So we meditate. And then we go around the table and share how we're feeling physically, mentally, and emotionally. What this does is it breaks down all of the barriers of misperception. So if my colleague has a sick kid at home and they seem a little bit upset, I actually uncover that at the beginning of the meeting, and I won't think that they're upset because they didn't get a spreadsheet on time. It breaks down misperception. It allows people to work together better. And it's been an incredible experience for us. So today, I ask you to take one step with me and integrate one of these methods into your workplace the next 30 days and see how it can transform you and your organization at your company. Thank you.